Hello there. Today I'm going to talk about a very specific kind of rage, and it's the rage that stems from a rebound relationship. And I'm going to do it for three reasons. Reason number one, it's an ungodly amount of rage. It's dangerous and can take you places you really don't want to go. Reason number two, this rage has very deep roots way back into our evolutionary past. Reason number three, this kind of rage lasts for a long time, months, years, and possibly decades into your future. So let me get all dressed up nicely and we go. A rebound relationship happens when you and your long-term partner part ways for one reason or another, and all of a sudden, in a matter of days or weeks, the person you were with is now sleeping with someone else, and they're making plans to go and live together, go for a vacation together. They are, in a way, rushing the stages of a normal relationship. This will leave you in shock. This will leave you with an insane amount of pain, and sooner or later, something is going to grow inside of you. And that little thing we're talking about is rage. Rage is a very powerful emotion. It can possess you. It can take you places that you're going to regret afterwards. All you have to do is look at your past experience to realize that. If you are a normal human being, not some kind of semi-god, you probably have done something quite enraged and deeply regretted it afterwards. Well, the, let's call it rebound rage, is a lot more dangerous than that. It can bring you straight into a drawer where you look for a knife, then you go out and do something really, really stupid, ending the life of a person that you deeply loved in the past, ruining your life and all the lives of the people that surround the two of you. Is it worth it? I don't think so. Why is this rage so powerful? Let's try to understand it. The way I see it, a rebound is constituted of two elements. One, rejection, and two, betrayal. It's like your now ex-partner is saying, I don't want you, I want this other person. More successful, more handsome. In short, we could say higher status for one reason or another. So not only you are being rejected, which is bad enough in and of itself, but you're also being betrayed. And there's a direct comparison right there, and it looks like you are not winning. This precipitates you in a state that we can rightly define as chaos, following what Jordan Peterson says. And by the way, have a listen to what Jordan Peterson has to say about rejection.
Because I would say the primary role that women have in relationship to men is to make them self-conscious, and men don't precisely like that. There's nothing that will make a man more self-conscious than being rejected. And why? Because why is he rejected? Well, obviously, Mother Nature, in the guise of that particular woman, has said, you're not so bad for a friend, but there's no reason that your genetic material should propagate itself into the future.
So according to Jordan Peterson, when a woman rejects you, it's like she is saying, you're kind of okay to have around, but what you have to offer should really not be propagated into the future. Your lineage should end right here, right now. You are being sentenced to extinction. If we take this a step further, we can really understand why the rage that invades you is so powerful. Let's go back tens of thousands of years. At the time of our ancestors, maybe, you lost the competition to be selected as a viable mate. Now your woman is carrying someone else's genes inside their body. What's the more reasonable thing to do from a strictly evolutionary point of view? Yeah, you guessed it. Take out both of them. This will increase your chances of survival by reducing the competition for resources. By the way, do I need to state the obvious by saying that I do not support any kind of violence with this reasoning? I hope not. So we can say that we now understand why this rage is so powerful and violent. It's old, it goes back millions of years. But what about your life now, in the present? And what about your future? Well, all you have to do is listen to James Sexton to understand that this kind of rage can last for decades.
I'm continually astounded by how long the hurt and anger of betrayal can reverberate. I have clients who were 4 years, 5 years past when the divorce ended, the cheating was discovered, and they're as angry as they were the day they found out.
So apparently time doesn't heal all wounds. You can stay enraged pretty much forever. James Sexton is a divorce lawyer who is divorced himself, who's seen it all and done it all, and who can save you decades of suffering just by seeing his podcast appearances worth it. So now we understand that this rage is dangerous. It goes way back into the past and it can stretch for decades into your future. So a question still stands: what to do with it? Well, there are a few options. You can act all awakened and positive vibey about it and pretend it's not even there. You know the poster Good Vibes Only? Yeah, that one. Well, you might probably want to remember that a guy a long time ago, and I'm talking about a guy with a magnificent beard that you can now find in stone, this guy said, every light casts a shadow. The harsher the light, the darker the shadow. There's no getting away from it. There's no sweeping it under the rug. It's gonna grow inside of you. It's gonna eat you alive and give you an heart attack. You could act on it, but we already say that it can take you in very dark places. You get basically unconscious and you wake up with your hands stained in blood, which, as we already said, doesn't seem a viable option, not worth it from any point of view. And there is also another option, which seems to me to be a better one, at least as a start. I'm talking about becoming fully aware of your rage and becoming fully aware of your potential to do harm, terrible harm. You are a human being, you can do terrible things. All you have to do is to turn on the TV and watch the news to realize that. If you want to dig deeper, you can go and delve into the history books. As a little experiment, try to imagine yourself as the perpetrator of those terrible acts. Try to imagine the conditions that are necessary for you to do those things. If you're honest and if you think long and hard about it, you probably realize that you are capable of doing the vast majority of those actions. Once you become fully aware of your capability for deadly violence, it becomes self evident that it's better not to get too carried away with this little rage thing. After all, you would agree with me that your life should not be about wishing harm and destruction on other people. It should not be about hating other people. Your life should be about, I wouldn't say necessarily loving yourself, because you could have plenty of reason to be unhappy with yourself and your current situation, but at least you can start loving that part of you that wants to change and that wants to transcend your current situation and transform you into something else, something better, hopefully. How do you go about that? Well, that's for you to find out because I think it's different from person to person. What I realized is that there are ways not to feel rage. You can go out and drink, you can distract yourself with things such as video games and stuff like that, but you will notice that the rage is gonna come back afterwards. It's gonna be even worse because now you feel horrible because you wasted time and you feel even more enraged. But what I realized as well is that if I am doing something meaningful, something that requires the entirety of myself, then the rage can be on board with it as a propeller to move me forward. But of course, you cannot expect to be engaged in something meaningful all the time. After all, you have to survive, you have to do mundane things, you have to go to work and maybe you don't like your job, you have to clean your house. When you do this kind of task, probably the rage is gonna be free floating and hovering above you. So it's for you to find out what to do with your life. Nobody can tell you what to do. Maybe you have to start asking yourself deeper question. Maybe you will have to go to therapy. How about something creative? How about something difficult? But allow me to suggest at least one thing. Among the other things that you're gonna do and incorporate in your life, start doing some kind of physical exercise. Go for walks, start a sport, start working out, anything that can change the way you move in the world. Because if you move effortlessly, you're not short of breath with every flight of stairs, it makes a world of difference. Start doing something that changes the way your body looks. Because it might seem shallow and superficial, but when you look at yourself in the mirror and see that something is happening, that makes a difference. You could say, well, we're talking about rage, it's something that is in the mind, what does my body has to do with it? Well, your mind is inside a body, so if you take care of that body, everything else changes. At first, start to cover the basics. It's like if you have a problem with a computer, you don't go straight and replace the motherboard. If your car doesn't turn on in the morning, you do not go out and buy another car. You start from the basics. Let's see if the computer is plugged in. Let's see if the battery is flat. Let's see if I have enough fuel in the car. Things like that, for us humans, mean simple things. Good sleep, good diet, physical exercise. Yeah, no shit, right? So in a way, I would say cover the basics, take care of yourself, do something meaningful, but also get out of yourself. Maybe you can go to the dog shelter and walk the dogs. Realize that there are plenty of better things to do rather than being angry at someone else. You're just taking a poison in the hope to hurt someone else. It ain't gonna happen. It's your life. Make it about yourself. Make an impact in the world to the extent that you can. Make it memorable. Make it count. That's all I have to say. Just my 2 cents. It's been a little like talking to myself, but I hope that sharing my experience will give you at least a little bit of encouragement. If you have any critique or any suggestion, feel free to drop it in the comments. And I wish you a good day and a good life. See you around.